Ka'ahala Yahawah, Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Rakaha Kradash. Double honors to the elder apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, for teaching this word in truth and sincerity. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered abroad, and peace and salutations to the sincere Akim that's pushing his word in truth and sincerity. To you I say Shalom. This is my name is Palath Yaira, and this one is called Edom is Finished. If you can't see that this place is done, if you can't see that this man of wickedness, Esau Edom, so-called white man, is through. His kingdom is rapidly crumbling, and it's crumbling right before our eyes. The Lord Yahawah, Bahashem Yahawashi, is working a magnificent work, and we're watching the demise of our enemies. This is Ezekiel 35:2. Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, thus saith the Lord Yahawah, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out mine hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. And we're watching that desolation. Give me one sec. We're watching that desolation. We're watching the Lord just starting to pull these different sects of Edomites down. Whether it's here, prophecy is geared towards Babylon the Great, which is America and Israel. But you're starting to see all these Edomites all over the place. They're starting to crumble, man. You're starting to see, they're exposing them. They're being exposed throughout all, the various newscasts. Even though here in Babylon, they're trying to still control the narrative where, these Edomites are winning. But, they're losing, and they're losing rapidly, especially with this war in Iran, man. They're wearing themselves thin, trying to, protect and go along with these small hats, man. This is verse 4. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahawah. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity has an end. So, they brought us over here, the northern tribes are already over here, they came over running from that Assyrian rule. And, we were brought over here during that transatlantic slave trade. But there was a time limit, man. The Lord has set a period of time for these people to rule over us in the capacity that they were doing, but they kept that yoke, man. They kept their foot on our necks, man. And to this day, they got our foot on our necks. As you see in the news, you still got brothers being hung. I ain't gonna, you can't really call them brothers, but you have Israelites being hung on these different college campuses down in the South. You have that kid Nolan Wells. He was just put to death, murdered by these Edomites. When you're not supposed to be hanging with them anyway. But when you don't have a knowledge base in the scriptures, when you don't use the scriptures as your guide, when you don't use the scriptures as your life support, as your teachings, as your knowledge base, you run around here thinking you could just do whatever you want and hang around these people and be friendly with these people in the manner that he was. I'm not getting on no boat with no Edomite, man. I'm not going hunting with no Edomite. Tell you the truth, I'm not even going to your barbecues. None of that. You know what I mean? I just wasn't raised like that. You know what I mean? And it's not something that, that how can I describe it? Like, at work, it's cool, man. We conversate, whatever. I might even conversate with Edomite, you know what I'm saying, in my travels. But for me to say that we gonna be buddy and hang out, nah, man. It's just not gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Just because I know of your hatred and your treachery and your barbaric ways. You rule with the sword, and you have a violent streak with you, man. You have a violent undertone in everything that you do, pretty much, man. And you see it in their works. Well, let's go on over to Ezekiel 36. This is Ezekiel 36:2. Thus saith the Lord Yahawah, because the enemy have said against thee, aha, even the ancient high places are ours in possession. You got those imposters in the land that claim to be us, that claim to be the people of the Lord, and they don't do anything according to the scriptures. Their whole way of being, like as far as movement and philosophy and thought process, is based off the Babylonian Talmud. When you read in the scriptures, man, the scriptures is clear on the law. It gives you specific rules, man, and you don't need no other book to clarify what the rules are. The Lord's statutes and commandments. You don't need another book to go into the law, to go into the commandments. But they use the Talmud as a guise, saying this is how we clarify what's, it's like it clarify how to go about fulfilling the laws, completely. But it's all nonsense, man. And you see through their actions that these are not the people of the Lord. Verse 3, therefore prophesy and say, saith the Lord Yahawah, because they have made you desolate and swallowed you up on every side, that ye might be a possession unto the residue of the heathen, and ye are taken up in the lips of talkers, and are in infamy of the people. So they did their best, man, to keep this truth from us, to keep us from our culture, from our heritage, from knowing the Most High Yahawah Bahashim Yahawashi. They came up with that nonsense slave Bible where it made them appear to be the Most High, to keep us in a perpetual state of slavery, mentally and physically. They emotionally stripped us of everything, man. They made us at odds with our women, kind of at odds with our children. We can't possess land, here in Babylon, but over there in our land, they just totally desecrated it, man. And the Lord said He's gonna pay them back for that. So you kind of profaned us to the world. You got all these different heathen nations that hiss their tongue at us, man. Like they talk down to us, they try to degrade us, and now you got recently in the news you got a Moabite gunning down a young Jake. So they got the whole world. Well, they got the earth, the people of the earth, these different nations, these different heathen nations, looking at us, in a negative light. But the Lord said He gonna handle these people, man. So you gotta rely on the Lord. You gotta trust in Yahawah Bahashim Yahawashi. This we're gonna go to Jeremiah 49. I'll read verse 7 and 8. And a subheading, prophesy against Edom. And that's what we're supposed to be doing, man. We supposed to be prophesying against these wicked people in this wicked nation. You know, we're supposed to be prophesying the downfall of Babylon. You know, exalting the name of the Most High, Yahawah Bahashim Yahawashi. Exalting His name, making His name manifest. We're supposed to magnify His name across the earth. You know, make His name resonate. But this is Jeremiah 49 and 7. Concerning Edom, thus saith the Lord Yahawah of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? Yeah, it has. Because they're making all the wrong moves. You know, Teman, you know, is a descendant of Esau, Edom, you know, allocated towards the Germans because Teman is supposed to be, you know, those wise men, you know. And if you look at how they move, those like, let's say 50, 60, 70 years ago, those Germans were on point with their knowledge, you know what I'm saying, with their knowledge base, you know what I mean, as far as like, you know, creating weaponry and things of that nature. They were one of the main ones that helped build that atom bomb. So, you know, but when you relate it to this particular verse, man, it's these Edomites here in Babylon, they not wise at all, man. The wisdom has left them. You know, they're making all the wrong moves. You know, and you're watching their moves play out. You know, all the misdeeds that they have done is falling back on them, man. That Deuteronomy 30 and 7, those curses are, you know what I'm saying, falling upon Esau, Edom. You know, even their women are starting to see through their nonsense. You know, these people, they rule with an iron fist. They rule through rape, robbery, and murder. You know, and you can't trust these people. They don't even trust themselves. You know. This is verse 8. Flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of Dedan. For I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him. So there's no way out of this, man. You know, Dedan is another. Let's look it up. I believe that is another descendant of Esau, Edom. Dedan. Oh, it's a Cushite. The son of Ramah and grandson of Cush. Those Hamites too, man. They're gonna get it too, because they had a hand, you know, in our downfall, and you know, had a hand in this last captivity that we went through. They had a hand in it, man. They the ones that sold us over to them Edomites. So Esau, Edom, and these heathen nations, man, you're gonna be underneath rulership, total rulership of the Israelites, the true biblical Israelites, which you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Make up the 12 tribes of Israel and the scattered elect, you know, that's scattered abroad, because we were scattered. The Lord scattered us terribly. So we have been scattered across all four corners of the earth. So you're going to have Israelites looking like these heathen nations. speaking like these heathen nations, partaking in their customs. But it's a beautiful thing to watch the Lord work, man. These people are scrambling, man. You watching Esau, Edom just scramble, and they don't know where to turn, because what they thought was going to be an easy victory over there in Iran, it's turned out to be, a burden, because they didn't expect them to get down like that. They thought they was just going to roll over, but Iran has been waiting for this moment for the longest, so they not holding back, man, and they not accepting none of that nonsense these people are talking about. They had a set of rules, they had a set of demands that they wanted to see accomplished, and you're gonna have, them small hats, not a Jew, and old silly ass Nero, they fumbled the rock. And because they fumbled the rock, man, Iran is just like, you know what, man, we're not dealing with you, and you keep messing with us, we just gonna keep taking down your vessels. They pretty much knocked over all these different installations over there in the Levant, so-called Middle East, Southwestern Asia. So America don't have a stronghold in that region no more. And that's all. And that's all part of the Lord's judgment upon Edom. This is Lamentation 4:22. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. So our punishment is over, man. We supposed to get back into a remembrance of the Lord and who's our power. And pray and praise the Lord and call upon His name the same way we did in Egypt, so He can come and take these people out and get us up out of here. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. So this is our last captivity, you hear? Before the Lord comes back. This is our last captivity. This, what I'm saying? Our punishment, our time out is almost over. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. So, Esau, Edom is about to have a real rough road. They about to have a real rough time. And all praise to the Most High, Yahawah Bahashem, Yahawashi, and how He work a magnificent work in righteousness. Man, He about to do these people dirty, and well deserved. Because everywhere they go, man, they try to divide and conquer, man. Everywhere they go, they harbor other people's land. They take other people's land. They take their possessions. They take whatever they have, and then assume the role of those people. Same way they did with us. But the Lord is about to set all these things straight. From here, we're gonna go back to Ezekiel. (36). And I'm gonna read verse 5. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahawah, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea. Idumea is a Greek word or a Greek way of saying Edom. Matter of fact, we can go ahead and take a look at that. And all you heathen nations, man, who had a role in the downfall of our people, man, you're gonna have to pay for that too. Edom, Edomite, Idumean, descendants of Esau, land of Edom, Idumea, land south and southeast of Palestine. So if you kind of look at the map, it's like south, kind of like southeast of Judah. So if you look at Judah on the map, it's like a little, like slightly diagonally south. But this is what the Lord is saying, man. He's going to take these people out. And the travesty that these people have done is that, they've changed all the names and places of people and their lands and their heritage, and they call them all these weird names. And that was all been done by design, man. So they can, pretty much confuse the world, confuse the earth, man, the people on the earth. You got people not knowing who they truly are, not knowing their lineage, but the Lord said He's gonna handle them, man. We just have to wait upon the Lord and do our part, which is continuously pray and do the things that the Most High say do. We must rehearse the righteous acts until you get here. This is Amos 1, and I'm gonna read verse 11 and 12. Amos 1 and 11. Thus saith the Lord Yahawah, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. So we were supposed to go into slavery. We were supposed to go underneath these Edomites, We were supposed to go through certain things, We were supposed to go through that slavery. We were supposed to go through, not remembering who we were. We were supposed to go through that period of time where he just erased our memory, He erased our heritage from us. He took it from us. He beat it out of us. And he just went too far with it. And to this day, to right now, there's a Jake out there being, pursued by an Edomite, man. And, an Edomite is out there trying to murder a Jake. So yeah, the Lord is going to give all this back to you, man. All this hatred that you displayed for us, He's going to give it right back to you. Verse 12, but I will send a fire upon Teman, which shall devour the palaces of Basra. So this place is going to be set on fire, man. This place is going to be a lake of fire, man. He's going to destroy this place, and we're rightfully deserved, man. Because all the wickedness that has been done here, the witchcraft and the murder, the rape, the robbery, this place got to be, a desert, dude. It's going to become a desert. He's going to turn this place into a desert. He's going to purify it with fire, and it won't be inhabitable after he finished with it. Call Allah Yahawah Bahashim Yahawashi. Make our way on over to Obadiah. We'll read verse 1. The vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord Yahawah concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahawah, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. So, man, our battle, the weapons of our warfare is not carnal, man. So this is a spiritual battle. So we got to rise up, spiritually. We got to enhance ourselves until the Lord gets back. You pray for the Lord to enhance your spirituality, man. They keep you on point. They keep you praying. They keep, to help you endure until he gets here, man. Because the Lord said, man, he's going to devour these people. So we have to play our part. It may sound like a broken record, but hey, man, I've run into disobedient, stiff-necked Jakes all the time. I work with one. And that motherfucker stiff-necked than the motherfucker. And it's all because of the things he learned. He got to try to relearn all the things he learned. That's why I pray to the Most High and I say the water, because I didn't have to relearn anything. I can't, I was in Babylon living my best life when the Lord plucked me up. You know what I'm saying? When he said, yo, it's time, I didn't have no doctrine to try to relearn. You know what I'm saying? I ain't have to try to wash away someone's fucked up doctrine. You know what I mean? Out of my mind to try to relearn, you know what I'm saying, the scriptures. I just dove in, and a lot of these things became crystal clear. Yeah, I had to do a lot of studying, and I had to go get wise counsel from my apostles, bishops, and my elders. You know, but at the same time, man, the Lord blessed me a bit. You know what I'm saying? Well, I was able to see certain things. I didn't have to relearn anything, and that's a blessing. And every day I say the water Yahawah Bahashim Yahawashi for that, because I listen to these people talk, man. They lost. You know what I'm saying? Their shepherds, man, has really done them dirty. This is Obadiah 1:10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. And jump down 15. For the day of the Lord Yahawah is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. Woo! So the Lord gonna do these people filthy, man. He gonna do Edom dirty, and he gonna do these heathen nations dirty for the things they've done to us. You know what I'm saying? When you go into the book of Judith, the 5th chapter, it talks about how the heathen, you know, they want to rise up against you, but the only way they can do it is by keeping you away from the Lord Yahawah, keeping us away from our power. You know what I'm saying? If we not worshiping our power in the right fashion by knowing his name, still these people still calling upon Jebus. You know what I'm saying? And they still going, you know what I'm saying, to these filthy little churches. They still diving in pork and seafood, and you know what I'm saying, the things that you can change, man, you need to just go ahead and change. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the abuse that we suffered through here, and a lot of things that we, you know what I'm saying, abuse that we put on ourselves, man, it's kind of hard to wash away a lot of that stuff. That's why you got to pray to the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Keep you away from a lot of this stuff. You know? But at the same time, man, it's the heathen's fault, man. It's Edom's fault. You know what I'm saying? The Lord put that spirit on these people to do that, man. But this is all part of the Most High story. So it's a beautiful story, man. A story of redemption of a people who just, you know what I'm saying, went astray. This is how he wrote it. So we got to play our part. But you know, the funny thing is, man, you see 2/3 of these people. You can see why the Lord's just going to be like, yo, he has to get rid of 2/3 of our people, man, because they just won't listen. You know, they stay falling into these snares. These wacky tacky passes, man, they set up as a stumbling block, and man, that stumbling block is like a 10-foot thick concrete wall, and they just can't, you know what I'm saying, they can't break through it. So with that, we're gonna go back to Ezekiel. We're gonna go to 25, Ezekiel 25, and I'm gonna read verses 12 through 14. Subtitle or the subheading: Edom. Thus saith the Lord Yahawah, because that Edom hath dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and have greatly offended and revenged himself upon them. And it's all because we got the birthright, the blessing and the birthright. You know, Esau's foolish ass, you gave up the birthright solely for some half-cooked, you know what I'm saying, half-cooked food. So you saw no greatness in being of having a birthright, of being the firstborn. You saw no power in that. You gave it up. You know what I mean? So you can't have it back. The Lord said he don't change, man. His word is immutable, so you can't have it back. You know what I mean? Shit, if it was up to me, you ain't getting it back, you know? So, you know, you just can't have it back, man. And that blessing, it was given to us. It was all ordained by your Lord Yahawah Bahashim Yahawashi to set Judah up set Israel up, set the nation of Israel, set the Israelites up to be a ruling class people over all the nations, man. So, man, this captivity, man, is a true learning experience for us, man. Those that are in this truth and are coming back to that remembrance of our heritage, our culture, and who our power is. The Lord gonna raise us up, man. And we're gonna be kings on this planet. We're gonna be rulers of this planet. And we're gonna rule it in righteousness. That kingdom of heaven is a righteous kingdom. It's a righteous government that's gonna be ruled right here on earth. And all the heathen nations are gonna have to comply. This is verse 13. Thus saith the Lord Yahawah, I will also stretch out my hand upon Edom, and will cut off man and beast from it. And I will make it desolate from Teman, and they of the Dan shall fall by the sword. You know what I mean? Esau, Edom, you're gonna get dealt with brutally. Them Hamites, you're gonna get dealt with brutally because of your treachery, man. On how you dealt with the Lord's people. Verse 14, and I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel. Woo. So he gonna raise us up, man. Y'all all going into captivity, man. When the Lord set this place on fire, he's gonna raise up his elect. He's gonna deliver his elect, and they're gonna come back down. And they're gonna pluck them Edomites right up out of their hiding places, man. They're gonna try to hide, man. They're gonna try to hide. They're gonna try to run. They're gonna try to flee, but it ain't gonna happen, man. Your asses is going into captivity, man. Hardcore slavery, man. And you're gonna build the land of Israel back up, because we're gonna have to purify that. The Lord gonna have to purify that by fire, also. So once that quenches, you're gonna be building that joint up, burying the dead bodies. Y'all guys gonna put in some work, boy. So enjoy the time that you got left. And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel. And they shall do in Edom according to mine anger and according to my fury. And they shall know my vengeance, saith the Lord Yahawah. Woo! Can't wait, man. Can't wait, man. I'm going over to Joel 3. And 3:19. Subheading for that, Judah will be blessed. Can't wait, man. Can't wait for the Lord to come in and and handle this, man. Put us back in our proper order, man. Joel 3:19. Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness, for the vengeance against the children of Judah, because they had shed innocent blood in their land. Come on, man. The Lord is just, there's so many scripts on the Lord telling you what he's going to do with Edom. Let me take a look at that one in the NLT. Joel 3:19 in NLT. But Egypt will become a wasteland, and Edom will become a wilderness, because they attacked the people of Judah and killed innocent people in their land. I can't wait to put these people in captivity, man. I can't wait for the Lord to actually, let us loose, man. Turn us loose on them. Come through, set this place on fire, set this place on blaze. He's going to deliver his elect. He's going to change their bodies. He's going to give them celestial, extraterrestrial bodies, perfect bodies. And he's going to put the Lord's statute and commandments in our mind, where we can't go off. So, you know what I'm saying? Just like the apostles, the bishops, and the elders on down, we gonna be superhuman, man. There ain't no way you gonna be able to take us out. Ain't no way you gonna be able to subdue us ever again. Going over to Malachi, the book of Malachi 1. Verses 2 and 4. I have loved you, Malachi 1 and 2. I have loved you, saith the Lord Yahawah. Yet ye say, wherein thou hast loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord Yahawah? Yet I loved Jacob. Verse 3. And I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. So all you clowns that say the Lord is he's good all the time. The Lord don't hate. He's all love. He clearly hates a group of people. And there's a group and there's a bunch of actions and mind states and that the Lord hates as well. The Lord is perfect balance, man. Isaiah 45 and 7. I create good and I create evil. The Lord works both sides, man. He wills good and evil, man. He has good angels and got evil angels, man. And they all do the will of the Most High. Nobody goes off. None of them angels go off. So the Lord is clearly telling you that there's a group of people that he loves and there's a group of people that he hates. Who do he hate? He hate Esau, Edom, but he had to set these people up. If you follow the scriptures, man, there's a book on nations and people and heritages and cultures, but it's all based on the Israelite culture. It's all based on the Israelite heritage, and it's based on exalting the name of the Most High Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi. His people are supposed to do that. His people has a set of rules, a set of statutes, a set of commandments that they're supposed to live by. That's all this book is, a book of a nation of people, the Israelites, who was supposed to do a certain task, and they fell off, being hard-headed, and they fell off, and the Lord had to punish them, And then there's a group of people that he hate, man. He don't care for the heathen, but he hates Esau. And if you look at how the scriptures are set up, man, each kingdom had their opportunity to rule, man. The Lord is just. The Lord is about balance. So now it's our time to rule, So we watching this man getting taken out. We watching Esau, Edom get plucked out of his comfort zone, man. He was comfortable in creating misery and famines and pestilences all over the earth. But all that shit's about to cease. Let's take a look at Psalms 9. Verse 16 and 17. Psalms 9 and 16. The Lord Yahawah is known by the judgments which he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. Higgaion Salah. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget power. And once again, hell is not a place where there's a red demon with horns and a tail and a pitchfork and you burning forever. Hell just simply means death, the grave, the pit. That's Shiloh. Shiloh, underworld, grave, hell, pit. So you see what it means? It simply means the grave, man. It means death. It doesn't mean a place where you're going to burn, you know what I'm saying, a fiery, hot, you know what I'm saying? You're going to burn and have a fiery, hot existence for eternity. That's not what it means. We can keep reading. Shiloh, the Old Testament designation for the abode of the dead. Place of no return, place without Salakia, without praise of power. Wicked, sent there for punishment. Righteous, not abandoned to it. Of the place of exile, figuratively, of extreme degradation and sin. So, man, because of our disobedience, man, through Eve being beguiled by that wicked nation that had her, you know, believe in other philosophies and going to other doctrines, you know, doctrines of the heathen. We have a, you know what I'm saying, we have a time stamp on our life, man. You know. And that's what these explanations mean, man. You know. But let's go on back. So from here we can go on to, let's go into Genesis 27 and verse 41. Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then I will slay my brother Jacob. So, you know, he had the intent in his mind, in his heart, you know, in his mind, to do us dirty from that period of time, man, when he wasn't able to get the blessing, you know, and the blessing was, you know, to rule. You know, rule in righteousness. But, you know, he gave all that up, man. Once you gave up the birthright, you wasn't going to get the blessing, bro. That's just how but the Lord set it all up like that anyway, man. He had chose Jacob. He had chose Jacob from the beginning. So, but at the same time, man, when you look at the script, man, it's just telling you, man, how long of a period these people had a hatred for us, you know, and what they said they was going to do with us, man. They said he said he was going to, you know, he's going to kill us, man. And damn sure if he ain't live upon that word, you know. Let's go on over to Romans 2 and verse 6. Who will render to every man according to his deeds? Now you can read up a verse or two. Let me see. The impartiality of power. You read verse 6 and 7. Who will render to every man according to his deeds? That's, you know what I'm saying? The Lord Yahawah Hashem Yahawashi. He's going to render every man according to his deeds, man. You know, exactly what it says. It's plain. It's self-explanatory. You really don't have to start digging too deep. He going to pay these wicked ass people back for all the treachery, heartache, and the destruction that they brought. You know what I'm saying? That they brought upon us. Galatians 6. Galatians 6 and 7. Be not deceived. Power is not mocked. For whatever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So, you know, the Lord takes account of all the things that we do, man. You know. So when he brings you back into this remembrance, man, you gotta stay diligent. You gotta stay in it. You gotta be in it to win it. You gotta endure to the end. There's no real time to if you're not studying, if you're not making a video, if you're not praying, if you're not meditating, if you're not fasting, you know, that's the things that we're supposed to be doing. You know, that's rehearsing the righteous acts. Those are our deeds that we are supposed to be doing here. You know what I'm saying? Esau, Edom is gonna run buck wild. That's what they do. You know, they gonna run buck wild. These heathen nations, they're gonna, you know what I'm saying, they're gonna have us under subjection. That's, you know, that's their lot, man. But the Lord's gonna pay all these people back for their deeds, man. Even the 2/3 of our people, man, for bucking up against the word, you know, mocking the word, you know, blaspheming the name of Yahawah, Bahashim, Yahawashi. So all these, you know, our deeds are being recorded, man, and everybody's gonna be dealt with justly, righteously by the Most High, Yahawah, Bahashim, Yahawashi. Isaiah 34. Read verse 2. For the indignation of the Lord Yahawah is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He have utterly destroyed them. He have delivered them to the slaughter. So the subheading to that is power's wrath against nations. So, you know, all these heathen nations, man, they all gonna have their time in the sun, man. You know, especially like if you here in Babylon, you're gonna catch it, bro. Simple as that. You're gonna catch it. He gonna give it to you. He gonna give you the business. 2/3 of our people and all these heathen nations, along with Esau, Edom, you gonna get the business. And then after that, you know, when the Lord Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahawashi implements the righteous government, the kingdom of heaven, every nation gonna fall in line. You're gonna have to fall in line. There's no room for error. You will fall in line, and you will uphold, you know, biblical law. Biblical law will be implemented on the planet Earth, and it's gonna be all righteous. I'm going to Jeremiah 25. And 33. I'll start at 32. Thus saith the Lord Yahawah of hosts, behold, evil shall go forth from nation to nation, and a great whirlwind shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. And the slain of the Lord shall be at that day from one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. They shall be lamented, neither gathered, or they shall not be lamented, not gathered, nor buried. They shall be dung upon the ground. So the Lord is going to do a magnificent work, man. He's going to tear these people up, man. He's going to tear the heathen up, man. All these people, all these people that have done wickedly against the Israelites, the true biblical Israelites, the Lord's people, or you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and the scattered Israelites, or the scattered elect of the of Israel, that's scattered amongst across the four corners of the earth. You know, who's been done unjustly by evil, these heathen nations. The Lord gonna set the record straight, man, and we're gonna be justified, man. You know, we're gonna be vindicated. You know, all of Israel is promised everlasting salvation. So some of us is gonna have to, 2/3 of our people gonna have to perish here in Babylon via nuclear fire and the Lord's angels in those chariots. Guiding those missiles. The Lord gonna guide those missiles, and those chariots are gonna help fuel that fire with those laser beams. So, 2/3 of our people gonna have to be purified, but they will be reborn again in the kingdom. And those heathens, the heathen nations, man, they're gonna face their time in the sun, man. They gotta pay for what they did. You gotta pay for what you did. So with that, I hope this is edifying. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahawah, Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Rahahak Radash, Abad Babal.